I'd like to make some furniture out of metal and wood. I love working with both materials. Now I need an end table for my house, and I'm going to make the base out of metal and use live edge wood for the top. First thing I'm going to do is head over to Woodcraft, talk to those guys about what kind of material I want and how to finish it. So I'm looking for a slab that's got a nice texture to it, something that's going to go well with metal.
We got something right here for you.
Okay.
American walnut.
Nice.
Yeah, I really like this. It's real easy to work with. You light it up with the finish, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice purple in here. You got this crotch area in here with some nice figuring into it.
I like that.
And down here is a really cool shape for a table.
Oh, I like that a lot too.
That's pretty sweet. And then keep in mind, take a look at the edges. And what people don't always remember is take a look at the back too. Make sure you're happy with that. And sometimes you'd be surprised at what you see.
Actually,
That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It is just beautiful.
Honestly, I like this side a lot.
Right, and you can do that, but keep in mind, these flanges right here sometimes are really extreme.
Yeah.
So making that side might be, the top side might be a little difficult, but this one, just by easing this, shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. I think that would work.
Yeah, and there's no bark on here already, so there's really not much you got to clean off there.
Okay.
So I think it's a perfect piece to use.
You know, I haven't done anything with live edge before. Is there anything I should look out for? Like, how do I get it nice and flat?
Right, so there's a couple of easy ways to do it. One, if you know someone with a wide belt machine.
Okay.
Real easy to pass it through a few times. This one itself is pretty flat to begin with, so it won't take long to do that. Okay. If by chance you have a large, say like a 20-inch joiner, that's great too. That's really easy. At least to flatten one side, then throw it through a planer. And last, my favorite way is using a hand plane.
Just a hand plane?
Yeah, it could take a little longer on it, but there's no dust, no noise, and you can really control it well. After you're done, either way you do it, sand it, ready to go, light it up with some finish.
Yeah, that's great because I need some help finishing it too.
Right.
So.
I'm going to show you a real easy method to do.
Okay.
That'll really work for you.
All right, cool.
Let's take a look.
So I'm looking for something that's durable, but friendly to use.
Absolutely. I'm going to show you a real easy process to use, but keep in mind, people will spend a ton of time on their project, and when it comes to finishing, they just want to get through it.
Hustle through it.
Hustle through it, and you know what? A finish will make or break your piece.
Sure.
So my number one advice is take your time.
Okay.
Do it right.
Okay.
So after you get your sanding down and your process down, I'm going to tell you to go to at least 220. You're not going to be staining it, so you can even go a 320 grit.
Okay.
I'm going to point you into a water-based top coat.
Oh, all right.
They've come a long way from what they used to be. Really durable, really easy to use.
Okay.
Comes with different sheens. I love them. But what I'm going to start you with, though, is a seal coat first. It's just a plain shellac seal coat.
Oh.
Key to it, though, is you want a de-waxed seal coat.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If there's any wax in it, nothing else is going to stick to it.
Right.
So I'm going to put that on there. It seals it up, and more importantly, since this is a water base, it'll have a tendency to want to raise the grain on your wood.
Oh, all right.
This will keep that from happening.
Seal it first with the shellac?
Yep, just one shot of this. Go ahead and I put on a minimum of 3 coats on this, especially on a tabletop.
Nice.
Right. A little sanding in between each coat.
What should I sand with?
On this one, a 320, 400
320.
grit is fine. You're just getting rid of that little grit on top, any little dust,
Yeah. And this will hold up fine for me.
Oh yeah, it's very durable, indeed, for whatever you're working on.
Excellent. All right, cool, man. Hey, thanks.
Thanks. Have a great day.
All right, so we've got the base of our end table project done, and it's ready for a patina. I did some test panels here because I want to find out what chemicals to use or how to go about getting the look I'm after, which is sort of this aged black type distressed look. So the look that I'm going to try to go after is this right here. It's got a nice aged feel to it. I like the imperfections in the copper work and the black shows through. And I always make it a point when I do test pieces to write down my formula, exactly what steps I took, if I flashed it with heat or Scotch-Brighted it. I write that all down here so when I go to actually do it, I can just follow this along and it'll get me really close. It's gonna look great with that walnut top. So here we go. So I found a new reason to go to Woodcraft. I want to hand plane this board. It needs some work to get smooth, and I've never done anything like this. So I'm going to head down there and talk to those guys, find out what it is I need to buy, and more importantly, how to go about doing it. So I picked up that live edge slab of walnut.
I remember.
Yeah, I'm working on a table project, and I've decided I want to hand plane that.
Got some work ahead of you there.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity for me to learn.
Absolutely. It's a great way to do it. It's more time consuming than using a machine. But as I always said, with hand planes, they don't make any noise and they don't make any sawdust.
Yeah.
So I really like them a lot. It's a great way to get things done. You have a lot of control with them. And it's just one of my favorite tools. I love hand tools.
So what do you recommend?
Well, if you're going to be flattening a board, to be perfectly honest with you, there's 3 I would recommend. 3 different.
3 different planes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's broken down into this. This is a number 5. It's a jack plane, it's called.
Okay.
So 5, 5.5, 6, those are all jack planes. 7 and 8, number 7 and 8 planes, those are joiner planes. They're longer. They work just like a joiner a machine would work. So the longer bed, you're just hitting the tops,
Okay.
the high points in the board and bringing it down. Then you have your smoothing planes, which do smoothing. So the number 4.5 down to number 1, those are all like your final passes usually. And if they're tuned up correctly, you don't even have to do much sanding with them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So the best way to do it is start off with the jack plane. And you're going to do what we call crosshatch. So let's say this is your board.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to go in this direction all the way up.
Okay.
Then I'm going to reverse it and go all the way up.
Okay.
I'm going to keep doing that till I get it down to a pretty level surface. I'm going to use my straight edge as I'm going and keeping an eye out with the light behind it, making sure it's looking good.
Okay.
And when I'm just about there, I'm going to go to my joiner plane, at which point I'm going to do that joiner plane going up and take off all those high spots till it looks really good. Then I'm going to finish with that smoothing plane. I know this sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to finish with that smoothing plane. And if it's tuned up correctly, as I said, you're going to have very little work to do after that.
Nice.
Yeah. They're great.
Now, if I wanted to do this with one plane, is it possible?
It's possible. It's just going to take you more time.
Of course.
And if you're going to buy one plane,
Yeah.
I would probably recommend the 5.5. It's a jack plane.
So a little bigger than that.
It is. It's a little wider than this. You have a little more girth to it. But it's long enough for smaller pieces that you can do a lot of work with that 5.5. You can use it as smoothing on some points, shooting it, joining it. Yeah. It's a great plane. If I only had one, that'd be it.
Can I check it out?
Absolutely.
This is really nice. So, do I have to do anything to it?
You do. I don't care what plane you buy, from what manufacturer, you always have to tune them up.
Okay.
And that always starts with the plane blade itself.
The blade itself? Okay.
Right. And you'll notice on this, it's a really thick blade with a real thick chip breaker, which is great because the thinner it is, the more chatter you might get.
Sure.
So this will be a really nice smooth cut for you. but the blade always needs to be honed up.
Okay.
Once you get that honed and tuned up correctly and seated correctly in the frog, the next thing I'd work on is the sole.
The bottom of it?
Bottom of the, theoretically, it should be perfectly flat on the bottom.
Okay.
So they have to flatten that out, or at least touch it up. Most have a little work to be done with them.
All right, all right. Not too bad.
No, it's really not too bad, and it is fun. It's just gonna take you a little time.
That's cool. It'll be fine.
Absolutely, it's a great learning experience.
Do you have a 5.5 for me?
I do, I have one in the back.
I'll take it.
Sounds great.
I am so happy that I chose to hand plane this board. It was a lot of work, but I learned a ton. And I gotta tell you, you cannot have that blade too sharp. The sharper, the better. I also learned that how I hold that plane makes a difference. Where I apply pressure and how I transfer pressure from the front to the back made a big difference. So I had it all hand planed down. I did a little bit of sanding. At that point, I filled in this void with some resin, and I'm really happy with how that came out. My next step is to cut this to final size, then I get to start putting on my finish. And I'm gonna go with Matthew's recommendation here. Put a seal coat on, then some top coats. This is gonna look cherry on top of our base. Even though it's walnut, it's still gonna look cherry. So happy with how this came out. I love the look of copper with that metal, and the walnut, it just sets it off. And I'm glad that I chose to hand plane because it really gave me an opportunity to learn a lot about using a plane. Now the finishing, that was a totally different challenge. I wanted to make it as smooth as possible, but my biggest problem was that I was sanding on top of those painter's pyramids, and it actually left little dents in the wood. It caused me to backtrack quite a few days worth of work to get it smooth again. Overall, this look of wood and metal is really inspiring me for more future projects.